Into MAISARA Caverns we go! One of the new dungeons in Midnight Season 1. We're going run a Mythic 10 for that Myth Tier Vault reward! I'll show you how the route flows, where the pulls can stack up, and a few simple ways to keep everything under control. So let's dive in. First, I pull the mobs at the entrance going straight down to the NPCs. Avoid the green circles and interrupt the headhunters so that they can move to the tank or suffer a heavy damage. You can pop Lust here if things get messy, or save it for the boss fight instead. As these group is about to die, you can get the incoming Mammoth for additional percentage in enemy forces, including the rest mobs idling this area. After that, free 2 imprisoned NPCs. We'll need a total of 8 prisoners for the route. Next, pull this group with the Ritual Hexer along with the mobs near the 2 NPC prisoners. Make sure to interrupt the Hexer, or he'll polymorph a player and disable them for a few seconds. If the polymorph happens to the healer during a high key, you're dead! If the Hexer dies early, you can chain pull the mobs inside the hut and near the next NPC prisoners. This group is pretty easy since there's nothing important to interrupt. We freed 5 prisoners so far, and now we're moving to the next group with the Mammoth. The 2 patrolling mobs are casters, so interrupt them to bring them to the tank. Get the 2 NPC prisoners, so we have 7 of them freed. Then get the group along the hut near the area. Avoid their circle attacks on the ground. You've completed freeing all the NPC prisoners at this point. For a safer run in MAISARA Caverns, I recommend aiming for around 55% enemy forces before the first boss. The mobs before the first boss are plentiful enough to complete half of the enemy force's percentage, and they're much easier than the tougher groups later on. We can skip most of those harder packs afterward. The easy ones are along this path. Just measure how many casters you can really pull to interrupt. In this run, I pull around 2 to 3 groups with 3 casters in it. Always prioritize interrupt on the Hexer, then interrupt the Shadowbind. Headhunter will be the last priority. Avoid AoE attacks on this group near the first boss entrance. We are aiming for 55% enemy forces, so we pull a bit more before the first boss. My suggestion is to pull the near pat and some mobs along the left from this view. Any easy last group to reach 55%. And for this run, we got 58% instead. For the first boss, I grouped them and faced from an edge for a tank throw. Once blue circles appear, evade them. The circles will appear freeze traps. If you accidentally hit them, you'll be freezed with a dot damage and cause the floor to create a huge freeze puddle. I'd position Muro'jin a bit farther away to give the group more room to dodge. Nekraxx will spread AoE attacks while Muro'jin marks a player with a red arrow and fixates them with a barrage attack. If you have the red arrow, point it away from the group and use your defensives here and heal through. The big bird will mark you with a green arrow. If you are the target, that's when you need to run to the freeze trap. Use your defensives here. Try not to follow our mistakes here. Once this is done, the cycle repeats. Just move the boss away from the areas that has been frozen from the last freeze trap. Then after the first boss, get along to the path and take these group before the one at the middle. There are 2 casters, make sure to interrupt them or they will not move to the tank and will cause you to agitate. Avoid the huge green circle from the giant mob. Move it backwards so you don't pull other groups. And again, the casters won't move if you don't interrupt them. Now get the mob at the middle. This one has some mechanic. He will create a vortex for you to cause moving a lot. If this mob is with a caster group, it will be hard for the interrupt. He will also grasp a player to the altar, so you have to DPS it down. Then I pull these melee group at the left and another group near the entrance. You can work on them separately if you want a safer approach.
Shield charge.
The only hard part here is that the Bound Defender will cast 2 Soulstorms that flies you off, so you better evade those. Next is to pull this huge floating caster with a group on the left side. So hug left, avoid aggro if possible. The patrolling Bound Defender wasn't supposed to be part of the pull, but it eventually aggroed. It should be been kited along with the melee skeletons near the stairs. Now, on this path, since we gained 58% from the start, we don't need any extra pulls. We go to the right melee skeleton group instead of the left group with the heavy-hitting casters. Get the patrol in the middle along. Then at the stairs, get the melee skeletons and drag them down up to the next group. Try to position them near the boss stage so that you don't need to cause an aggro. We don't need those extra pulls here. Now that's done, you should have gained 80% of the enemy forces at this point before the second boss. For this run, we gained more. You can do your Lust Haste buff at this boss. For this boss mechanic, she will cast Rest Phantoms on 4 players. What to do is you have to kite your unstable phantom to another phantom ad. Then, the green phantom has to merge and will leave a green puddle at the floor. The boss will also cast a frontal cone during the ad's kiting, so it's kite and evade strategy. The next phase, the boss will cast Necrotic Convergence, where she will summon lots of orbs for you to evade. Use your defensives and heal. Later this cast will become interruptible. Interrupted, or this spell will last very long up until you wipe. Then the mechanic cycle repeats. After the second boss, we need to face a path with a random exploding AoE along the way. From here, I choose the right side and pick up the group of mobs. We cannot hit casters if they are far away, so always interrupt the casters or they will not move to the tank. I place these mobs along the side edges of the road where the random AoE doesn't appear to hit these areas. For the last mob-bound defender, kite it going above the stairs to the drummer. Kill that drummer first, so that the AoE in the path wears off. Then, after, kill the bound defender. Then we face the final boss. We have reached 100% enemy forces now at this point, so no need to go back. At first pull, drag the boss to the walls for him to drop his puddle. Having the puddle drop in the middle will be hard for the rest of the group to move around. Avoid circles appearing. DPS and healer can stay around the middle, close to the boss. You will get marked by a green arrow where the boss jumps at you, leaving totems in your place. If the totems appear, kill it immediately, or it will cause a wipe. I will place the boss near to the totems for the AoE damage and as close to a near wall for the puddle drop. This phase is more like a positioning mechanic. In the next phase, the boss will cast Soul-Rending Roar that wisps you away to the start of the road path. The mechanic is to run to the boss without getting hit by the ghost in your way. You see some malignant soul that has huge circles along your path. If you could CC or interrupt these malignant souls, they can gain you a buff that increases your damage, healing, and movement speed up to 6 stacks. If you do that, you can finish this boss in one phase. Apparently this group didn't know that trick. That's just the mechanics of it. Or else, the cycle repeats. Let's finish this dungeon.
Shield slap! Execute!
Well done.
And that wraps up MAISARA Caverns. Keep it smooth, play along with the mechanics, and your runs will feel a lot easier with pugs. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more Mythic Plus content.